ABC's Once Upon a Time is back this fall as magic has been unleashed on the town of Storybrooke. You can get the first season on DVD and Blu-ray, and it's easily one of my favorite shows on television. Created by the guys that brought you Lost, Adam Horowitz and Edward Kitsis, as they take us to Storybrooke, where many of our favorite characters are lost in a place where time stood still. People like Snow White, Prince Charming, Jiminy Cricket, Pinocchio, and others now live alternate lives as different people because they don't remember who they once were. That's all thanks to a curse that was placed on them by an evil queen who is also the mayor of Storybrooke. The cursed townsfolk call her Regina, but in real life, she's called Lana Parrilla. Lana joins other great cast members on the show like Robert Carlyle, Jennifer Goodwin, Jennifer Morrison, Josh Dallas, and Jared S. Gilmore. It's a show where it's very easy to have multiple favorite characters, including the evil queen. In fact, Lana has her own passionate following of fans called the Evil Regals. As a big fan of hers and the show myself, it is my pleasure to welcome her to the show today. Lana, thank you so much for joining us today on Beyond the Screens.
Well, thank you for having me, Scott.
My pleasure. And obviously, Once Upon a Time had a very successful first season. It was a really unique and engaging role to transport into as a viewer, so I can only imagine what it was like for the cast. And you get to play such a fun, complex character in the show, so as an actress, what was it like for you to experience this world and this character?
It's been incredible from the very beginning into the second season. She is, well, as you know, she's a tortured soul, this woman. So.
Yes, she is, a little bit.
She doesn't have many happy days.
No, not very many at all.
But not very many at all. But it's been wonderful from the very beginning. Challenging, and as you can imagine, playing such a complex character, but a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun, and I adore her. I adore both sides of her. The evil queen and the mayor.
You can tell they did their homework on the casting because you do a great job and you've got a fantastic surrounding cast. What kind of led you to the show, and how did getting this role all come about for you?
Well, it was during pilot season, the 2011, and I auditioned for this part. Mm-hmm. And originally auditioned for a different show called Combat Hospital, and I'd gone in to read for the casting director, who at the end of the audition said, "I have the perfect role for you. You have to play the evil queen in Once Upon a Time."
Oh, nice.
And I just thought, that's so strange. I just auditioned for a trauma surgeon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, give me the script. And I read the script, and I instantly fell in love with it. I thought it was so original and so unique. I had never had a glimpse into these iconic fairy tale characters as I had in reading Once Upon a Time.
Sure.
Eddie and Adam have found a way to humanize them, and that's what I found so compelling about these characters, is that they are these iconic fairy tale classic characters, but they're much more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's more to them, and they're very similar to us, with all of our human complexity. So I was instantly pulled in and went in that following Friday. I think it was a Monday when I got the script. I went in that following Friday and met with Eddie and Adam, and I ended up booking the role. That's in short. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to the
yeah.
story,
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned both personas that you get to play. I mean, obviously the evil queen is one side we see, and Regina, the mayor of Storybrooke, is the other side. So how do you tend to approach the challenges of having to juggle these two personas on one show?
I, at times, separate them. It's funny because yesterday I was on set and I was playing the young Regina and then going into a hair and makeup change and becoming the mayor. Mm-hmm. And luckily, in our second season, I've been living in the body of this character. It's becoming easier to transition from young Regina, evil queen, into the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a dial or a flip the switch sort of thing.
Although yesterday I said, I feel like I'm a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, like Sybil.
Well, I've had people who've played characters like that have said even at times in real life that the switch accidentally comes on and they almost forget who they are for a second and they're in character and then they have to come back.
Well, it's funny. I was, telling a friend of mine not long ago, I said, I feel like I live her life more than my own.
Oh, really?
And it's because the hours are so, long and demanding, and the time you have to be there. And then you come home, and I'm, breaking down a script and working on my lines and making choices, and I invest so much time in the work offset that there isn't much of a break.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really force a break. And I do. This past Saturday night, I said, I'm going out. I'm going to go do something.
Yeah.
Try to have a weekend.
I'm going to approach a day without thinking I have to get revenge on somebody.
Right. It can be a very dangerous place if I got lost into this character.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense to me.
I mean, I could be a dangerous woman out there, roaming the streets in Vancouver.
Well, it might work to your advantage on occasion. I mean, you just, if someone gives you any mess, you just give them that evil queen glare, and I think that'd be enough.
I think I got that glare anyway.
Yeah.
I inherited that from growing up in Brooklyn. Every so often I do see the Brooklyn and the Evil Queen. It's quite funny. Adam and Eddie and I, we all laugh about it. And every so often I hear like a Brooklyn accent come out, just once in a while. And Eddie says, well, why can't she be from Brooklyn?
That's right. The Evil Queen straight out of Brooklyn.
And why can't she be Puerto Rican?
That's right.
Which I just think is hilarious. But anyhow, it's been a lot of fun. And the character is quite challenging. And going back and forth between the Evil Queen and the mayor, it was just a matter of time. I really had to separate the script. I would take, Storybook and put it in one pile and Fairy Tale Land and put it in another, and cross-reference a lot, but try to work on each role individually and then kind of bring them together. But in the early stages, I had to do that in order to kind of okay, what is the Evil Queen's voice, and where does it rest in her body? Like, where does she speak from? And the mayor's very... she's kind of stiff. There's a stiffness to her, and my body is different as the mayor than it is as the Evil Queen, and I really had to play with that. I had to play with my voice and my body were the two most important components, I think, in playing these characters. I had to focus on that, and even with young Regina, I found a lightness. Sometimes I would just jump in the air and say my lines just to create this light sort of, airy quality to her. And I really enjoy playing, all three characters. Have been a lot of fun for me.
Well, and I would think the way the show is written makes it a lot easier to manage to some degree. Because anytime you're trying to tell two stories at once, even as a writer, a lot of things can go wrong. But on this show, I really think the storytelling is really seamless. It really blends together extremely well. And I have to think that really makes a difference for you as you try to juggle the two roles, that you've got this strong cast, and then for the storytelling to be as structured as well as it is.
Yeah, it's challenging, but it's been a joy, just a tremendous amount of fun. I love all the challenges that come with it as well, and I love to see everyone else's process. It's been quite interesting, even just Robert Carlyle, watching him and how he plays all these different roles, and on the show, how he is the Beast, and yet he is Rumpelstiltskin, and how he was, the Dark One, and then he's vulnerable, kind of meek, or, character prior to all that, the transformation and becoming the Dark One. I think, I was talking to another good friend of mine about just the roles that are out there. I think this show really is writing them. I think we're writing some of the best roles that are out there.
I agree. Well, and I know how rewarding, as kind of what you're alluding to now, how it is for any actress to get not only an enjoyable and memorable role, but also getting to indulge, in this case, an effective, strong female character. And you obviously do an amazing job exuding the confidence and the power of your character. But on the other side, you have Emma Swan, played by Jennifer Morrison. And I would think that another thing that you love about this show is you've got two very strong, believable female characters at the center of it.
I do love that. A lot of shows are focusing on women more than they used to. And funny, because Swingtown for me was the beginning of that. In my career is when I really felt like we were focusing on three strong female characters, and then again here on Once Upon a Time. And I don't know if that was intentional from the creators. We do have a strong actor in Josh Dallas as Prince Charming, and Bobby Carlyle as Rumpelstiltskin, but the three women, including Jennifer Goodwin, they're all very strong characters, and I love it. I love that we're out there and representing female and the fans that we draw in, a lot of women are inspired by these characters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women kind of find their voice just from watching the show. I've been told that by fans, and I've read it as well. I love the influence that we're having on the youth and women out there.
Absolutely. Well, as a big fan of the show myself, watching the first season, I kind of began to wonder, okay, everyone's going to remember who they were at some point, and then what? And then the question was clearly answered in the finale. I mean, now everyone kind of remembers who they are. The curse is broken. Magic is unleashed on the town. I know you can't tell us a whole lot, but what can you say about what's to come in the new season?
Well, everything is bigger and grander, and there's multiple characters that are being introduced as well. The first season really focused on the 8, I think there's like 8 of us, and that's including the sheriff. And this season, we're kind of branching out a bit more and bringing in Mulan, Aurora, the Giant rather, from Jack and the Beanstalk, and possibly Jack at some point.
Yeah.
Captain Hook. And that is, is going to open the door for more storytelling. Magic is in Storybrooke, and so what does that mean? Well, it doesn't quite work the same as
sure.
in Fairy Tale Land. And it is strange being in the mayor's clothes that are much more civilian and modern, but it's hard to, summon magic in those costumes.
In a business
so
suit?
Summoning magic in, Fairy Tale Land clothes.
That makes sense.
But you're going to see a lot of people waking up and remembering who they are. But they have 2 sets of memories. They have their memories from Storybrooke, and they have their previous lives. And I think that that's quite confusing for a lot of the characters. And that's going to be interesting. And the rivalry between Mr. Gold and the mayor and what happens there. And Snow White and Prince Charming, remembering their position as prince and princess and wanting to kind of get that power back. And Emma, who's just now realizing all of this is real. And that's a scary reality, I'm sure, for her on some level. So there's a lot of eye-opening moments where everyone's just waking up and the mayor's secret's out. So, there's a mob scene where everyone comes to her house to kill her. And, well, they don't succeed. But
well, of course not.
they don't succeed. But she has a lot coming to her, for sure.
Wow. Well, like I said, it was really great to see how they were setting up the next season. And as you just laid out, there's going to be so many great things going on. But, I know that there's only so far the writers are going to want to go with that. Do you know if everybody involved kind of has a roadmap or kind of a sense as to where they can go with the show for season 3 and even beyond as it continues to have success?
I have no idea where the show's going to go. I mean, every episode that I read, I'm perplexed.
Yeah.
And loving it, too, as I read them. But I just have no idea. I had no expectation of the curse breaking at the end of the season either. So I'm just as in the dark as the rest of us, and I'm just as excited to see where the show is headed.
Well, like I said, you play a fantastic evil queen on the show, and I can tell you enjoy the role as much as you do. Outside of your own character, who are some of your other favorite villains from television or film?
Well, I do love Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. My wife would love hearing you say that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do love her. I love Glenn Close as the villain in Fatal Attraction as much as I love her as the villain in 101 Dalmatians. I just think she plays a fantastic villain across the board. And this is going in a total different direction, but Freddy Krueger was someone scared the hell out of me growing up.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think he's scared a heck of a lot of us.
And I love how that I'm scared by him. I love being spooked. Scary movies were always my favorite genre, so there's a list of villains.
Yeah. Well, those are all good choices.
Like a lot. Darth Vader being another.
Now you're getting into my territory. Now this is sounding even better. In a way, it's interesting you bring up Darth Vader. I think there's one parallel that I one time found myself kind of thinking when it came to the Queen. You know, with Darth Vader, he's this evil enforcer, but there was still good in him. There was still a thread, and it was a question of whether or not he could ever go back to it. And you see some of the things that the mayor or the evil Queen is dealing with, you know, regarding heartbreak and other things, that there was one time, obviously, as we know, a thread of good in her. And when those times where she looks a little more vulnerable, you stop and wonder, there's a little bit of that good and that inner conflict in her at times as well, but inevitably, you know, it's almost like the revenge factor, and she's come so far down this path, she can't turn around and go back.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about how these two characters are very similar, and I'm sure Adam and Eddie, being huge Star Wars fans, were definitely influenced by Darth Vader, and there are elements of Darth and the Evil Queen for sure, and similar historical backgrounds of where they came from and how they were once good.
Yeah.
And something has made them evil. It wasn't a choice. I think that's the most fun for me to play, is really getting down to the core of, like, what happened here. And maybe that's why playing young Regina is so refreshing and so fun, because I think the more that I'm able to tell that story, the more we have compassion and empathy for the Evil Queen.
Definitely. Well, as a big fan of the show and a big fan of yours, I really appreciate you joining us on the show today. It was a great way to start off a new season, and look forward to another season of Once Upon a Time, which is on Sunday nights at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, starting on September 30th on ABC. Lana, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a joy talking to you, and I really can't wait to see what your character does next on Once Upon a Time.
Thank you. Same here, Scott. Thank you very much.